Hey KAO team and family, this is Mr. Thompson. Welcome to our first remote learning lesson. So where we last left off when we had school, middle of March, we were really working on finding the central idea in an informational text. So we're still going to be working with that skill today, but we're going to slightly pivot. And instead, we're going to be working on summarizing the central idea and supporting details for a complex text. Mastering this skill, being able to summarize, is going to help us better understand and comprehend complex text. So what you're going to need for today's lesson: access to Google Classroom and either a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone that you can use to access the internet. Now, there's a document on Google Classroom that goes along with this lesson. What I want you to do is open up that document right now. You can press pause in the video until you're ready to get that done. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today is summarizing the central idea and supporting details. What is the central idea? Central idea is what the text is mostly about. Supporting details are facts, ideas, examples, and opinions that help explain the central idea. A summary is simply just expressing the main points in your own words. To find the main idea, oftentimes we want to pay attention to what the author is saying in the beginning of a passage, because a lot of times that's where we're going to find the central idea. Summarizing is a complex strategy in which you extract the most important ideas from a text and present them concisely in your own words. Now, when I say concisely, what I mean is short or brief. Your summaries today for this lesson are not going to be longer than 2 to 3 sentences. So how do we do this skill? How do we summarize the central idea and the supporting details? Now, the first thing that we're going to have to do is read. So for my model today, we just have this simple paragraph right here. I want you to read along in your head as I read out loud. A local man was injured while surfing when a large great white shark swam across his path and bit his leg. Local officials indicate that this non-native species is known to get hostile with swimmers when the water is disturbed. Many consider this shark to be a danger to the public. Now, the first thing I do is I do a first read, okay? You're going to notice that right here, I have a section to write my central idea, my 3 supporting details, and then finally, my summary. Now, if I can't determine the central idea after a first read, next thing I do is always reread. So, again, read along with me in your head as I read out loud. A local man was injured while surfing when a large great white shark swam across his path and bit his leg. Local officials indicate that this non-native species is known to get hostile with swimmers when the water is disturbed. Many consider this shark to be a danger to the public. So, first thing I'm going to do is think about my central idea. Now, the central idea is what the text is mostly about, okay? Now, I know from annotating that it's mostly about great white sharks and how dangerous they can be to people in the water. So my central idea is going to be the great white shark is dangerous to swimmers. Now, all central ideas have supporting details that hold them up. The supporting details that I pulled from this text are: sharks can get hostile when water is disturbed, sharks are a non-native species, and a shark injured a surfer in the water. Okay? So after I have my central idea and my supporting details, what I have to do is summarize in 2 to 3 sentences my central idea and the most important supporting details. Also, it's really important that that summary is in your own words. So, after walking through all those steps, doing multiple reads, filling in my central idea and supporting details, I came up with the summary. A shark, known as the great white, is dangerous because it can cause injuries to unsuspecting swimmers and surfers. It is non-native and attacks when there is movement in the water. Let's look at another one. So again, first thing I do is I do one read all the way through. Read along with me in your head as I read out loud. Yellowstone National Park is mainly located in Wyoming, although 3% is located in the state of Montana. The Continental Divide of North America runs diagonally through the southwestern part of the park. The park sits on the Yellowstone Plateau, which is an average elevation of 8,000 feet above sea level. This plateau is bounded on nearly all sides by mountain ranges. There are 290 waterfalls that are at least 15 feet in the park, the highest being the lower falls of the Yellowstone River, which falls 308 feet. Okay? So I do one read, think about my central idea. Now I know that this is mostly about Yellowstone National Park, but I don't know really what they're describing. So I need to do a second read. Yellowstone National Park is mainly located in Wyoming. Although 3% is located in the state of Montana, the Continental Divide of North America runs diagonally through the southwestern part of the park. The park sits on the Yellowstone Plateau, which is an average elevation of 8,000 feet above sea level. This plateau is bounded on nearly all sides by mountain ranges. There are 290 waterfalls that are at least 15 feet in the park, the highest being the lower falls of the Yellowstone River, which falls 308 feet. Now, one mistake a lot of 7th graders make is they confuse some of the supporting details for the central idea. It's really important to remember that the central idea is what the entire text is about. So, if I were to say my main idea is there are 290 waterfalls in Yellowstone National Park, that would be the wrong main idea. Why? Because this is a central, or this is a supporting detail which holds up the central idea. So, I read twice, then I annotate, I pull out what I think are the most important pieces of information, okay? And after reading this multiple times, I determined that my central idea is Yellowstone National Park has many different features. The 3 supporting details that I pulled were the Continental Divide of North America runs through the park sits on the Yellowstone Plateau, and there are 290 waterfalls in the park. Now I've got my central idea, I've got my supporting details. I have to summarize these in my own words. My summary is Yellowstone National Park has many different types of terrain. This landscape includes plateaus, mountains, and waterfalls. Okay? So notice how in my summary I include the central idea in my own words and then summarize what I think the most important details are. Okay, so now moving on to guided practice. Now for guided practice, what I want you guys to do is work through these steps, okay? In your document, you're gonna have a section to determine the central idea, to determine the supporting details, and then to write out your summary. You're gonna do that on your document, and then when you're done with that, you're gonna move on and answer this multiple choice question, okay? This is a rigorous SBAC aligned multiple choice question, so I really want you to take your time with it. So, I'm gonna ask you guys right now, work on this, pause the video, and come back to the video once you feel ready. Okay, now, after we've read through our text on Halloween, we've read through our question. Correct answer is number C. Halloween is a 2,000-year-old holiday that has evolved and changed dramatically from when it started. Now, in order to answer that question right, we needed to know what the word evolved means. And using context clues, hopefully you were able to determine that evolved means to change. Excellent. Now, In closing, a central idea is what the text is mostly about. Supporting details are facts, ideas, examples, and opinions that can help explain the central idea. It's really important to remember that supporting details answer the question who, what, where, when, why, and how. Summarizing is a complex strategy in which you extract the most important ideas from a text and put them into your own words. And good summaries do not include personal opinions or judgments about the text, but rather they include only the most important information from the article or text. Please make sure you turn your document in on Google Classroom. Thank you guys for a great first lesson, and I will see you later on in the week for more fantastic learning. Thank you.